Hello everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. It's time for the royal news. So let's see what's been going on around the date of November the 16th, 2025. The first story comes from Fox News and it's dated November the 15th, 2025. Prince William and Kate Middleton changed the game for royal life, dubbed Total Hell by Insider. And this story is by Stephanie Nolasco and Ashley Papa for Fox News. Being a member of the royal family, the British royal family, can be a living hell where isolation and betrayal lurk behind palace walls. The claim was made by royal commentator Kinsey Schofield, host of the YouTube series Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered, who weighed in after actress Sophie Winkleman, known as Lady Frederick Windsor, described royal life as total hell, shattering the illusion of a fairy tale existence. Still, she believes the Prince and Princess of Wales, Prince William and Kate Middleton, have a different approach to royal life, thanks to their family life and dedication to duty. It's a living hell to be a member of the royal family, Schofield told Fox News Digital. The public has higher expectations of you. You're held to a higher moral standard. Other people have a say in who you marry. You're expected to look beautiful and always behave yourself. Last year, reality TV flunky Narendra Kaur made headlines after criticizing the appearance of Catherine, Princess of Wales, said Schofield. She said the princess was aging poorly, and this is after we all knew Catherine had cancer. Winkleman, a British actress who married into the royal family, told the Times of London that the lifestyle isn't picture perfect, despite the pomp and pageantry. The more I get to know the royal family, the more I get to see that their lives are total hell, and that level of unasked for fame is a form of torture, the 45-year-old told the outlet. None of them went to the UK reality music competition, Pop Idol, or something to be famous. To have that sort of blinding spotlight in your face from when you're born, not knowing quite whom you can trust, not knowing if someone's going to betray you, people writing lies about you the whole time, it's just brutal. Schofield agreed. Imagine surviving the fight of your life only for commentary to focus on your physical appearance, she said, referring to Kate's cancer battle in 2024. Your babies are immediately in the public eye, she said. You struggle in school to make friends because you don't know who sincerely wants to be your friend and who is using you. Worse, sometimes your friends get desperate for cash and sell stories about you to the tabloids. You must keep your opinions to yourself, which is a rare characteristic today. Your schedule is created 6 months to a year in advance, and you're taught not to deviate from it. Isolation is certainly a problem, Schofield continued. That's why the late Queen loved surrounding herself with her cousins and old friends. The Queen knew she could trust her family members and that they understood her unique circumstances. Winkleman married Lord Frederick Windsor, the son of Prince Michael of Kent, the late Queen's first cousin, in 2009. According to the outlet, Winkleman willingly left the entire wedding preparation to her mother-in-law, Princess Michael of Kent, including the picking of her wedding dress. The matriarch is sometimes unkindly named Princess Pushy, the outlet reported. I didn't know anyone at my wedding, Winkleman recalled. I had my best pals there, but basically it was full of faces I'd never seen before. I feel for all of them, she added about her in-laws. I don't think a life with that much scrutiny and pressure is remotely healthy, but they have no choice. Royal expert Ian Pelham Turner told Fox News Digital that being a working member of the royal family, where your destiny is pre-planned, isn't for the faint of heart. The reality is you're living in a fishbowl that leaks, he explained. You're living a life of power, money, and position, with some family members believing they have total control to live however they wish and behave without impunity. So I really do feel sorry for the royal family. But if this was such a hellhole existence, why not follow the example of Harry and Meghan and leave? Would they be missed? To me, they love the life. Winkleman told the outlet that many of her in-laws use their positions for good, even as they remain frequent targets of negative press coverage. There are specific family members who have been essential for highlighting key causes. The senior royals work really hard with thousands of charities in Britain and around the world, behind the scenes as well as front-facing, Winkleman said. There's no getting away from the fact they add huge prestige and heft to whatever cause they're supporting. The King's Trust is the greatest engineer for social mobility in Britain. Princess Anne does nearly 500 engagements per year. The Duchess of Edinburgh had just come back from Sudan, meeting surgeons who operate on violently raped toddlers. That is traumatic, serious work. I truly think my communist grandfather would be convinced by my arguments in favor of the royal family, Winkleman said. Royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams told Fox News Digital that specific members of the royal family have worked tirelessly to support their country. The importance of the monarchy goes far beyond the trappings of power, he said. You can make a difference, as King Charles has with this trust. It helps the unemployed and the disadvantaged. Anne, the late Queen's only daughter, has been president of Save the Children UK since 1970. It aims to support the needs of children worldwide. She is involved with over 300 charities, organizations, and military regiments in the UK and overseas. Known as the hardest-working royal, the 75-year-old devotes a large part of her life to engagements and visits, with zero plans to slow down. Kate, married to the heir of the throne, the British throne, had committed to raising awareness about children's mental health and emotional well-being. Her goal is to bring attention to issues impacting children, including abuse, poverty, and neglect. The 43-year-old mother of three aims to highlight how mental health can impact children well into adulthood along with their families. She also is an advocate of sports, the great outdoors, and the arts to enrich people's lives. Prince William's goal, as he prepares to be king, is to preserve the environment. In 2020, he launched the Earthshot Prize, described by the royal family's website as a global environmental prize and platform to discover, award, celebrate, and scale groundbreaking solutions to repair and regenerate the planet every year until 2030. In 2014, he founded United for Wildlife to help ensure that traffickers couldn't transport, finance, or profit from illegal wildlife products. In 2023, he founded Homewards, a program that aims to tackle homelessness. The 43-year-old also supports his wife in having public discussions on mental health, opening up about his own personal experiences in ways that make him a relatable royal. Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, is a patron of over 70 charities. The wife of Prince Edward visits hundreds of schools, hospitals, military bases, and community groups every year to highlight their ongoing projects. Her key causes include supporting people with disabilities, young people in need of additional care, championing the blind, as well as agriculture and gender equality. The Times reported that last year Thomas Kingston, the husband of Lady Gabriella Kingston, Lord Frederick Windsor's sister, died by suicide. The loss inspired Winkleman to work with James's Place, a charity that helps men experiencing suicidal thoughts. Schofield said that two key members of the monarchy in particular are continuing to breathe new life into the ancient institution and shaping its future. The Prince and Princess of Wales have gone above and beyond to give their children as normal a life as possible, Schofield said. They do the school runs, attending sporting events. Friends are allowed to come over, and they play outside with the dogs. The family loves being outdoors. It's the antithesis of William's upbringing, which was at times chaotic and inappropriate for a child, she added. The second and final story comes from the CBC, dated November the 16th, 2025. A prince under pressure, while there's so much at stake for William as the monarchy faces scandal. And this story is by Janet Davison, and it was dated November the 16th. 2025. He went barefoot for a game of volleyball, taking a few tumbles onto the sand of Rio de Janeiro's famed Copacabana Beach. A few days later, Prince William was standing before the world leaders in the heart of the Amazon. He talked of how they were coming together at a moment that demands courage, cooperation, and unwavering commitment to our planet's future. William's speech on behalf of the UK government to leaders gathered for the COP30 summit also acknowledged a family legacy and personal commitment to tackling the climate crisis. I have long believed in the power of urgent optimism, the conviction that even in the face of daunting challenges, we have the ingenuity and the determination to make a difference, and to do so now, William told the gathering in Belém. I grew up with my father, the king, talking about the power of nature and the importance of harmony in the natural world, a subject he has championed for over 5 decades. It is a privilege also to represent him here today, as well as everyone else who has championed this cause for so many years. That speech in Belém and William's time earlier in Rio for this year's awarding of his Earthshot climate prizes reflected both the personal and public sides of an heir to the throne, coming under increasing focus as the monarchy faces its own pressures and recent scandal. William is, says Toronto-based royal author and historian Carolyn Harris, putting himself into a position to carry on his father's environmental work. He doesn't yet have those responsibilities and expectations as a constitutional monarch, she said. The emphasis on continuity, however, comes at a time of great scrutiny of William, particularly given the scandal surrounding his uncle Andrew and the health of King Charles, Harris said. He noted, for example, a recent BBC podcast with the title, "Can William Save the Planet and the Monarchy?" That's a tremendous amount of pressure, even if that podcast headline is to bring in listeners, said Harris. It's a bit like how Queen Victoria, who came to the throne in 1837, was seen as a breath of fresh air when she had some scandalous uncles, Harris said. Prince William is not only taking on causes that are very relevant to the 21st century audiences around the world, but in many ways he's tasked with making the monarchy respectable again after some of these recent scandals. That's in addition to personal challenges William faces, including his estrangement from his younger brother, Prince Harry, and the cancer diagnoses last year for both his father and his wife, Catherine, Princess of Wales. While he was in Rio, William was also presented with a key to the city and visited the Maracana soccer stadium, where he helped lead training drills with local children. By all appearances, he was reveling in his time there. I think that one of the things that we're seeing is that last year he was not a happy man, and that fed over into his confidence, his public appearances, everything like that. Judith Rowbotham, a social and cultural scholar and visiting research professor at the University of Plymouth in southwestern England, said in an interview, "I think that a year on from the Princess of Wales' emergence at the end of her treatment, we're now seeing a man who is very much in the act of Prince of Wales, the heir apparent. It's clear," Rowbotham said, "that William is working closely with his father in an official monarch way." But William was evidently also thinking of his mother, the late Diana, Princess of Wales, during his time in Rio, as he posed in the same spot she did 34 years ago, in front of the famed Christ the Redeemer statue. "I think he always likes to do something that will pay tribute to his mother," said Rowbotham. To be fair, both his parents were genuine activists in their ways, and I think in many ways, Diana learned that from Charles, but she then took her own line. But by standing in front of the statue as he did, William was making sure that he was seen not just as his father's son, but also his mother's son. While William was in South America, he also took a moment to tap into the North American pop culture. He did a video chat with Robert Irwin, an Australian conservationist and Earthshot ambassador, to urge him on as he competes in the ABC television reality competition, Dancing with the Stars. "We're missing you," William told Irwin before joking. "Whilst your twinkle toes are going off elsewhere, I need you down here." In such an appearance, William is offering a more relaxed approach to engaging with the public, Harris said, noting also his recent appearance with Canadian comedian Eugene Levy in an episode of his Apple TV Plus show, The Reluctant Traveler. So he's trying to find new ways to connect to the public, new ways to connect with a younger generation that perhaps isn't as engaged with royal traditions or royal history, Harris said. Still, there could be a delicate balance for William to strike. "I think it's a fine line of just ensuring that the younger generation of the royal family is relevant in the public eye, but isn't seen as interchangeable with celebrities themselves, as they have a very different role," said Harris. What's next for Andrew? 2 weeks after word broke out that King Charles was stripping his younger brother of his title as prince, further evidence of Andrew's disgrace is piling up, along with indications of how his life may unfold as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Over the past several days, there's been reports that Andrew is shutting down his startup competition pitch at Palace. Next, that Democrats in the U.S. Congress are asking him to appear for questioning over his links to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The stripping of the title of prince has been formally published in the Gazette, the UK's official public record. He's also been stripped of his last remaining honorary military title. Newly released emails in the U.S. are casting further doubt on Andrew's claims of cutting ties with Epstein. Andrew is likely to be in line for a payout and annual stipend from Charles. The reality is that the public perceptions of Andrew are likely to be bad for the rest of his life, says Rowbotham. He has been stigmatized in ways that are popularly labeled unacceptable. Andrew is also being evicted from Royal Lodge, the 30-room mansion he leases from the Crown Estate, and relocating to Charles's private estate of Sandringham, northeast of London. Where he'll live on the estate isn't known, nor when he will make the move, although it is expected it may be the new year before he's settled there. I mean, it would be a nightmare for everyone, including Andrew, if he was on the Sandringham estate and not present at church, with the royal family for their Christmas Day service, said Rothbottom. There has also been public questions, Harris said, about why it took as long as it did for Andrew to lose his titles in his home at Royal Lodge. Controversy in connection with his time as a trade ambassador and over his friendship with Epstein have surrounded him for more than a decade. It means that for the first time, a critical gaze is being cast on Queen Elizabeth II's legacy, Harris said. Elizabeth has been, Harris said, described as the ideal constitutional monarch who reigned for 70 years above politics. But now there is some scrutiny of just how willing she was to forgive members of her family regardless of their conduct. And so there is a perception that she left her son, King Charles III, a very big problem to deal with Prince Andrew, although he stepped back during her reign from royal duties and remained a prominent member of the royal family on a personal level. Charles is expected to provide ongoing financial support for Andrew. Any money that Charles provides to Andrew will be purely personal matter out of his own personal income, said Robotham, who described Charles as a generous man who's not going to be privately ungenerous to his brother. He knows that there's absolutely no way that Andrew could afford to pay market rent for any of the likely properties on the Sandringham estate. Harris said Charles appears to be ensuring that there's some kind of transition out of royal life for Andrew. He may well be concerned about what might happen if he completely cuts off Andrew on a personal level, or who Andrew might turn to for money or somewhere to live, or if a memoir might be published, Harris said. We have seen how much scrutiny there was of the monarchy after the publication of Prince Harry's memoir, so there may well be political reasons as well for not completely cutting ties with Andrew on a personal level. And lastly, about that ball cap. Prince Harry, who has a deep devotion to supporting past and present members of the military, was in Toronto for events commemorating veterans ahead of Remembrance Day. But some of the international media attention on his visit focused instead on the fallout of his decision to sport a Los Angeles Dodgers cap as the team played Game 4 of the World Series at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. Harry apologizes to Canada for wearing a LA Dodgers cap during the World Series, read the headline from the BBC. After Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, who live in California, were spotted wearing Dodgers headgear, some social media users had plenty to say. Symbolism is very important for members of the royal family, said Harris, noting the scrutiny, for example, of Queen Camilla's choice of brooches when she was in Ottawa in May. The Canadian public is not accustomed to seeing senior members of the royal family adopting American symbolism, even if it's an American sports team. Then there is the ties both Harry and Meghan have to Toronto, where she lived for several years, and where they made their first public appearance as a couple during the Invictus Games of 2017. Certainly those Dodger caps were not well received in Toronto, to say the least, said Harris. Still, could the apology made during a visit with veterans at the Sunnybrook Health Sciences Center cover it? He would have known that he was going to be visiting Toronto very soon afterwards, said Harris. And so this was simply seen as poor judgment, that he was making this an issue going into his visit to Toronto, rather than keeping the focus on the veterans and the True Patriot Love Foundation and the various organizations he was engaging with. So I will end the video here. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so, it would help the channel to grow, as well as giving it a thumbs up. It's all a great help. And if you haven't clicked on the notification bell, if you could do that, it lets you know when a video is posted. If you happen to see a surge button that pops up at the bottom of your screen watching the video, if you could click on that, it will help to promote my channel and allow me to gain even more viewers than I have already. And I would appreciate that. And more importantly, though, I want to wish everyone a good day. Tune in again soon for Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life, the Royal News. Thank you. Bye.